Okay, so I got those bolts in there really good now, and basically what we want to do is we want to plug our feed line and our return lines, and in order to get to them, you can see the turbo is like in the wrong spot. What we gotta do is we gotta release these bolts. Can you see them right here? All these bolts all the way around. I already released them a little bit earlier, but so they're kind of loose still. But this is gonna allow you to clock the turbo, and by clocking the turbo, I mean spin the turbo like this, and now you're gonna have access to all these. Like back here, you don't have access to this one, so you go ahead and spin it, and now you have access to it. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do the oil feed line first, which is on this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and retie all these again. That way when I go ahead and tighten up the return line, it won't spin on me or anything, cause any damage. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and remove this right here, and this is your return line, and you got your little gasket for it. I also got another gasket over here, but you can see this one's a little bit thicker from the side, so basically I'm gonna probably use this one. Let me see how it lines up. Doesn't look too bad, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these in there. Let me see what it looks like with the other gasket. This one actually fits on there perfectly, but I'm gonna go with the thicker one. Which is this one. But it's almost impossible to get an unbiased look at what's working and what's not. Undercover COs may not rat on other officers. Inmates won't snitch on each other. So for these, you're gonna need an Allen wrench. So I'm gonna go ahead, put some of this stuff on here. Put a drop or so. Put it through here. We'll start to screw it in. Do the same thing to the other one. Put a drop on there. And start putting this one on. And now I'm going to grab my Allen wrench. I chose these participants because I felt none of these fit. Being locked in our facility for so I'm going to probably have to use this right here. So this one fits on here. Now, 60 days, I mean that's. So tighten it up a little bit. I thank you on the loss of that. Tighten up the other side a little bit. Huge impact down the line for how and now look at this. Tighten it up really good. Our staff doesn't know that you guys are being planted in a job. But now you can plug in your feed line right here after you put some Teflon tape on there. You make sure that this is nice and tight. You don't want to over tighten it either. Just get a feel for it. what you think is nice and tight. And that's it for that.
And I'm a school teacher. I specialize in K-4, but I teach all 12 grades.
Okay, so for the return line, I flipped it around, and this is the return line. And how can you tell which one's the return line and which one's the feed line? Because they're different. This is the gasket for the feed line, this is the gasket for the return line. So they're completely different, they're not going to line up. The gasket's not going to line up. The part is not going to line up. So that's how you know what is what. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one up. Take the little plastic off. Grab this one, and it's the same thing. You got the two crush washers and the two screws. They're also Allen wrench. And I didn't think this was complicated or anything. But you know what? Now that I'm doing it, I'm putting it together. It's a good thing I made this video. So it'll be like a walkthrough for you guys. It'll help you guys out. You know what? This side. Oh, there it is. Wasn't going through, but it is.
You wake up in the morning and you go to sleep at night and you have the same number of fingers and toes, and you had a good day.
So I'm getting it in there.
My wife is a wonderful person. We've been together almost 7 years. At the back of the slide.
All I'm gonna do is just tighten it enough where it feels a little bit snug. Do the same to the other side until it feels snug. This one's still going, because you don't want to end up stripping this, or you don't want this to go in there all crooked or anything. So try to do it evenly on both sides.
This program will benefit me in my goal to become a DDA agent.
Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. I tightened that up pretty good. Now what I'm going to do, so both of my connectors are there. All I got to do is just plug in all my lines and everything. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and clock it again. That way I can just like straighten it out back towards the other way. So release all these screws. So I'm gonna clock it up to like right there. So it looks sort of like that. I'm gonna go ahead and retighten everything for now. Not completely tight, but just snug enough where I could put some force on it or whatever. Because I'm going to have to clock it. I'm not going to forget, because I'm going to have to clock it when I put in all my piping when it's actually in the car. So okay, so all these screws are pretty tight on there right now, pretty good. Now we're going to put our exhaust manifold right here. So this is the down pipe for the exhaust manifold. And we're going to go ahead and put it in here.